This is a meat sauce, so let's start with the meat. Here I'm using a beef shank, but you can use any cut of beef. I'm going to remove the center bone, but I'm going to hold on to that because it looks like a good marrow bone. Try and figure out something to do with that. I'm going to cut this into large cubes and finally dice it after that. You can really cut this any size you want, anywhere from ground beef all the way up to large chunks. Into the bottom of a hot Dutch oven, I'm going to throw some vegetable oil. And then we're going to go ahead and brown the beef. This wasn't called for in the original recipe, but it's always a good practice to brown your beef because browning equals flavor. Once it's got some nice color on it, let's remove the beef. And you can see we got a nice fond on the bottom of the pot, which will definitely lend to the flavor of the sauce. Next I've got a red onion. I'm going to go ahead and slice and dice that. And dump it into the same oil that the beef was cooking in, and give it a quick fry. Now I've got a green bell pepper. I'm going to de-seed and dice that as well. And go ahead and throw that in with the onions. Once that's cooked for a little bit, we're going to throw back in our beef. Next, we're putting together a standard Somali spice blend called khawaj, which consists of coriander, cloves, cardamom pods, cinnamon, some turmeric, as well as some black peppercorns. We're going to toast all those spices in a skillet and transfer them to our spice grinder. Give them a good blend. And then we're going to add in the turmeric. I'm going to add a few tablespoons of this khawaj. AKA all of it. Stir that on in. Man, I can't get over the colors of this dish. It just looks so cool. Next we've got some tomato paste. I like the stuff in the tube because it seems to last longer. I'm going to use a couple tablespoons of that. And I've got some vine tomatoes that I'm going to dice up. You can also use a can of crushed tomatoes or pureed tomatoes, or you can take these tomatoes and throw them in your blender until they're pureed as well. Doesn't really matter, but I like a rustic sort of sauce. Throw those guys in. We're going to cover it up for about a half an hour until they start to stew. And now you can see all the juices have come out of the tomatoes and the peppers, and it's really starting to break down and turn into a real sauce. At this point, we're going to add in about a teaspoon of lemon zest. You could also use lime or lemon juice or lime juice. As well as a good handful of cilantro. I'm going to roughly chop that just so it mixes well with the sauce. Dump that in. Stir it on in. We're going to season with some salt, as well as some freshly ground black pepper. And you can go ahead and cover that up for another 10 or 20 minutes. And remember, the longer you go, the more flavor you'll develop and the more tender the meat will be. Next, I've got some spaghetti. I'm going to throw it into a shallow pan with some well-salted water. And bring that up to a boil. This may seem strange, but it's a tried and true method for quickly cooking pasta. Rather than bringing an entire pot of water to a boil, you've got just enough to cook the pasta. So if you're expecting an Italian pasta sauce, that may be the foundation, but that's not what this is. This is herbaceous and earthy and bright from the bell peppers and the cilantro, and that makes it totally its own thing. Now, I've heard that some people add sugar to their recipe, but I don't think it's necessary considering you have a banana on the side. It really rounds things out and goes surprisingly well together. So I've got a link to the full recipe in the description below, and over here there's a video where I show you how to make Maltese baked rice. So check that out. See you next time. Cheers.